we dug deep into the most popular networking advice online and applied it to our networking events. And here are 5 tips you need to know to make a good impression and grow your business with your first or next networking event.
Going to networking events can be very awkward, and it can be an introvert's worst nightmare, talking to random people you've never met before, trying to get some business, trying to move forward in life, and it can be very awkward.
Especially me, I'm a massive introvert, and I applied these to myself when I went to a networking event, and it helped so much.
So for some context, we've been to 5 networking events so far, so we're not experts, but we're just going to teach you the tips that we've implemented that have helped us actually get leads for our business and actually close a couple deals from it. So the hardest part of any networking event is actually approaching somebody, going up to them and having a conversation. But how do you actually do that? Well, the easiest way that we've found is simply just to try and make eye contact with someone, smile at them and start walking towards them. And you'll notice that when you do that, they will naturally feel inclined to walk towards you as well. And you sort of meet in the middle, as opposed to just walking up to somebody who isn't even looking at you and catching them off guard. It's a lot less awkward and it's a lot easier when somebody's walking towards you and you're walking towards them.
The other thing you can do is simply just join a group. Now, it is harder than approaching someone individually, but it just has to be done.
So yeah, avoid tight, closed off groups. Look for groups that are a lot more open, or even somebody that's speaking one-on-one but at a bit of an angle. Those types of groups are a lot easier to approach than people that are just completely closed off.
So you've taken the first step. Now, what do you say? Here are some ideas of the things you can say after you've made the first approach.
Hey man, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. What do you do?
I'm in accounting, what about you?
Oh, I'm in property.
Nice.
How long have you been doing accounting for?
I've been doing it for about 5 years now. I think since I was about 17.
Oh,
yeah, so I've been doing
Jesus,
it
wow.
quite early,
How old are you
yeah.
now?
I'm 22.
22?
Yeah,
Oh,
so for 5
jeez.
years now. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy. What got you into it?
So yeah, start off with making the conversation about them. Ask questions about them.
You're meant to look that way. The tap came from this side of your shoulder. Why aren't you looking on that side of your
Because
shoulder?
I can see both of his hands. So yeah, you want to start off with making conversation about them. Ask questions about why they're here, what are they looking to get out of the event. Just speak about them to get the conversation flowing, because the more you take interest in them and the more you speak about them, the better they're going to reciprocate that when it comes to speaking about you. And also it just builds a much better, genuine connection.
Exactly, and as an example of that, when I went to a networking event, I approached someone who was just sitting by the food, asked them if they're eating the food, how it was. Even if it comes to the point where if they're getting drinks, for example, are you getting a drink? Have that natural conversation and it will lead to something more.
Also, maybe even talk about clothing. Oh, you got a nice blazer on. Oh, I can see your bra. Things. So yeah, you can always bring up appearance. Oh, nice beard. I always do that. Oh, bro, you got a nice beard, man. I need that beard. Don't say that to a girl. If you say that to a girl, the drink's coming on you.
Step 3, make sure that you're actively listening. Now, that just means that you're showing interest, asking questions about exactly what they're talking about. And I know sometimes it can be boring and your brain might fall asleep, but it has to be done. So essentially we do VAT returns, we do accounts, we do audits, we do absolutely everything in accounting, top to bottom, whatever you can think of, we provide that service. And we have loads of clients who actually depend on us, and I'm sure they'll be able to give you a good few testimonials and whatnot. So we deal with a lot of clients, like one client that we recently have is in construction actually.
Oh, construction? Oh, wow.
And we actually went to a client. It was actually a really fun
Oh,
trip.
whereabouts was it?
It was in Kent.
Oh, Ken.
Yeah,
Oh,
so it was
nice. I've
actually
been
quite
to Ken,
interesting.
yeah.
And we went there, we did the audit, had a nice day, went to lunch.
So you actually go to their places to actually do the thing?
Yeah. So
Oh,
for work,
nice.
So for specific work, sometimes.
In order for a networking event to actually be useful and be used for its purpose and generate qualified leads, you have to make genuine connections. You can't fuck around and be fake and have... fuck! I meant to say be facetious.
Huh?
Be facetious.
Facetious?
Yeah.
What's that?
Sarcastic. Ah, shut up. I know big words.
What happened to your dyslexia?
I'm still dyslexic. In order for a networking event to be successful and to get qualified leads, you have to make genuine connections. It can't all be a facade and be facetious towards the people you're speaking to. You have to be real and make genuine connections. And this is where actively listening comes into play, because it's a genuine thing to do. You're actively listening to what they're saying. You're putting the time, energy, and emotions towards what they're saying, and you're storing it in your tiny little brain. You can't just go around acting like you care. You've got to genuinely care in order for it to be successful.
Ask questions, share your opinions, and more importantly, see if you can add value to them. Do you know anybody that could be of use to them? Can you introduce them to someone? Do you yourself need those services, or do you know someone that needs their services? See what you can do to add value to them, even if it's just simply something as collaborating with them on LinkedIn and doing a shared post together. Just try to add value and give before you try to get.
Mr. Alani, don't you have an example you can share with the people?
I do, you're right. I met somebody in the education sector, and I have a friend that used to run a business in that exact sector. So I offered to connect them to see if my friend had any connections that would be useful to the person I was talking to. And when it came for me to talk about what I do and my business, he seemed very warm and open to it after I had tried to give him value first. So moral of the story, give before you get.
So the penultimate step is how to talk about yourself. You've done the hardest part. You've approached the prospect who you've never met before. You've listened to them. You've asked them questions. You've given value up front. Now it's time to talk about yourself. If you were to picture a conversation or visualize a conversation, after you've asked questions, they're going to ask you questions, and you have to be ready for what they're going to ask. So make sure you're prepared, and in this step we're going to go into detail about how to prepare for those questions.
So you don't want to tell them how you do what you do, you just want to tell them what you do and then let them ask for more information. And this way that makes the conversation a little bit more flowy, and you can sort of gauge how much of an interest that person has in you and how valuable of a connection, or if they're actually going to be a lead or not. So
what do you do?
I'm a property sourcer.
Nice.
That shit's boring. Don't do this. Instead, do something like this.
So what do you do?
I help people who are cash rich but time poor invest into property.
Oh, that's interesting. So how does that work?
Can you see the difference between the two? It sounds a lot more exciting and benefit driven in the second one, whereas in the first one it's just a little bit boring and people aren't exactly going to know what you're talking about.
So once you're done with the conversation, depending on how it went, it's good to take down some contact information and just follow up with them after. Give it about 24 to 48 hours and just drop them a message, be like, hey, this is blah 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 from the networking event, I hope you're doing well, and just flow another conversation.
And if it's a female and you're a male, you never know, it could lead to something. So make sure you contact them. And if you want to pick up a girl, networking events are the best way, because they're probably forced to give you their contact number.
And they know you're rich.
Exactly.
But yeah, wait 24 to 48 hours, drop a message and just maintain that connection, because what's the point of having a 20-minute conversation and then you leave it at that? You never know, even if they're not directly related to your business now, they could be very useful in the future, or very useful for somebody else that you may meet that you're trying to make a good connection with. So take down the contact information and try and maintain a good connection. Maybe even check up and message every once a month, twice a month, something along those lines. And yeah, so there we have it, guys. Those are our tips for your first or your next networking event. And if you have any tips to share with everybody else, and if you want to give some value, then drop some comments below and tell us your networking tips.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. And if you want to see more content like this, and you want to see this threesome every week, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share our channel. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of October. So let's make that happen. And yeah, let's build this community together.
End of October or end of September?
October.
It's almost the end of September.
So you want a month and a half?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to happen in 9 days.
I think we're on 17 subscribers.
Oh,
No,
okay,
we're on
fair,
23.
fair.
Sorry, 23 subscribers. We need 8.
Subscribe!
Subscribe, bitches.